Welcome back to PipeCast on a special edition Zoom Independence Day review. Today we're going to be reviewing Independence by Dan Tobacco. Do you have a blend? Do you have this?
Mm-mm. I just had it in the bag.
Are you going to break it down?
Yeah, I'm gonna break it down. Let's go. Let's go break it down.
Alrighty, what we have here is Dan Tobacco's Independence, another entry in the American History Mixtures. What it is comprised of, according to the tin, is the finest Virginias combined with Black Cavendish and a small portion of Latakia, all flavored with notes of fruit. So, like I said, we have some Red Virginia, Bright Virginia, Latakia, and Black Cavendish, and as you can tell, it's I think they were pretty on the money, saying it's just a small portion of Latakia. There's hardly any dark leaf poking through this little sample here. It looks to be very dominated with the Virginias, and I don't even see that much Black Cavendish. So whatever bits of dark you see, it's kind of hit or miss whether or not it's Black Cavendish or Latakia. But it seems to be heavy Virginia, but this is classified as an English aromatic because it does have enough of a fruit casing to be in the aromatic family, but it does have the components that are typical of an English. Latakia and Virginia mostly. Latakia itself being an Oriental. So, but it does have that little bit of Black Cavendish, which, of course, this is the American Black Cavendish. I have it as an example. The Cavendish that they're probably using is probably more of a darker brown in shade. So some of this that we're seeing could be some of the Black Cavendish. So yeah, this is Dan Tobacco's Independence. Let's see how it smokes.
So that was Dan Tobacco's Independence Day, or no, just Independence is what it is. And we're on Independence Day at the moment.
That's right. A little special tribute to national freedom.
National freedom, as only the Germans can do.
The Germans understand national freedom.
they
So they blended
understand
this.
it
They
somewhat.
blended this for it.
Yeah. So as we said in the breakdown,
Some of their other national things didn't go over
no,
super well.
no. But this is an aromatic, comprised of Black Cavendish, Latakia, and Virginia. So it's a simple ingredients list, and I think you and me like the more simple ingredients we have in the past like that. But this is Black Cavendish, but it's the regular kind of Black Cavendish, like the OG,
Yeah.
not the C and D kind.
No. Well, kind of thinking about John Moore, this is kind of what happens when the Cavendish sort of works out or works in your favor.
Yeah.
It doesn't leave that like bitter taste, that acrid kind of nastiness.
Yeah.
Um, the Cavendish sort of enhances, the Virginia, and I guess, this is kind of interesting because they don't really taste the Latakia. It's so light. I mean, they could have just said this was a Virginia blend. As a matter of fact, if they'd have left the Latakia on the blending floor, I probably wouldn't have noticed. It's pretty crazy. I just
Yeah.
don't taste it.
It is very light on the Latakia. It's if I hadn't have recently looked at the components, I would have been hard pressed to say it had it. Um, the whatever the topping is, it's some kind of fruit citrus thing, and I think that's my biggest beef with it is I don't think it needed the flavoring. I think it probably would have been better without it, but it's fine with it. It's just I don't know, it just throws me off. Like when maybe I'm just thinking too much in the marketing of it. It's just like I don't think of an aromatic blend when I think of Independence or Independence Day or whatever it may be. It's like, to me, I'm wanting more of a natural tobacco, if we're in talking in those regards. Um, but
Well, I mean, that makes the most sense because, I mean, the United States is pretty much founded on the backbone of tobacco, economically.
yeah, yeah,
And, you know, it would have just been leaf, that was, just the leaf that they cultivated and shipped out. There wouldn't have been anything special about it.
yeah.
So,
And
just a natural, untopped tobacco probably be the closest thing to our independence that you could get. And if you're looking from a purely historic perspective,
yeah,
I mean,
but
but go on.
I was gonna say, I guess I don't need to. I need to divorce my opinion of the blend from that whole thing. So, you know, pretending that it's not called Independence, and let's just think it's a Dan Tobacco blend, right? Just a random Dan Tobacco. Um, you know, I, Going into this recording, I was ready to really go to town on it in a negative way. Um, but I don't really think it's that terrible. I think of the American history mixtures, it's probably my least favorite still. So far we've done Midnight Ride, Patriot Flake, in this, and I think I like Midnight Ride and Patriot Flake a little bit better. Um, though the more I smoked Patriot Flake, the more it went down. So who's to say on any other day I may like this a little bit better? But I don't. When I first started smoking it, the I was getting a Royal Yacht mixture feeling about it. Maybe it was because I smoked both of them very close to one another. Because I first smoked this several months ago. Whenever we were recording Royal Yacht, that's when I first started smoking it, and so something about it was similar. I don't necessarily think it was the taste. It was just more. It just gave me a similar vibe, but um, this is pretty dry. It hasn't been in a jar. It's been in basically a Ziploc bag that hasn't been like zipped shut. It's kind of just been folded over for 2-3 months. So this is a little bit drier, and it's actually smoking a little bit better for me.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that I don't know how much that affects. Normally, the drier it gets, the worse it is for me. The more harsh
Right.
that the smoking experience is. But this isn't bad tonight in this moment. But the times I've smoked before now have been a little bit underwhelming, I guess I would say. But I mean, this kind of sounds like I'm giving you a mixed bag. But like I said, it's getting better the more I'm smoking it. But
Hmm.
I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Um, I like it. Um, it gives me University Flake vibes, and it gives me a touch of In Soda Bed vibes. But if you pull back on the Latakia from In Soda Bed,
Yeah.
I'm assuming that the flavoring is the same or akin to In Soda Bed and University Flake, which is probably apricot or plum, I'm assuming. And I don't know what it is about those flavors, but they really work, with this particular blend. There is a weirdness to this because if you retrohale, in my opinion, you have a wasabi sensation. It burns my sinuses really badly, and I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know if it's a topping. I don't know if it's something in the tobacco. It's not peppery. It's wasabi. It really stings. I've done it like twice, and I was like, oh goodness,
Oh, that's really
it's a
good.
harsher retro hell, but I wouldn't call it negative harsh. That's no way. There's no way to say that. That's like it's I don't know. It's harsh, so it burns, but it's not. It doesn't put me off from the blend,
Mm-mm.
right?
Actually, like just doing it now has raised my opinion of the blend because I
Mm.
like that. That was actually very enjoyable.
But I think that the topping on it which is interesting. This has a really bad review on tobacco reviews. So from 1 out of 5, it's like a 1.9 or something like that. And normally, I look at tobacco reviews, um, like after I've smoked it, not necessarily to form an opinion, just to get a like. Usually has a component breakdown, just so I'm making sure that I'm touching all the notes that I need. If there's not anything specific, right? And then like I'll look to see if like what the rounded or the average number is. And I don't think it's high, or as in number of people who've said it, but the number of people who've reviewed it do not like it. I think it has like 11 one-star reviews, which is pretty low in my opinion, for a blend that I don't think is terrible. You know, I mean, I'm not like putting. I mean, this might get its block knocked off if I did you know, a versus of, University Flake, right?
Yeah.
But it's not a bad blend, so it's confusing. And the staying power of the topping, which makes this more aromatic, or is pretty strong. I mean, I'm still tasting that fruitiness, which is usually what my biggest hit is when it comes to a topping. It's like, all right, so if I've gone down this rabbit hole with you of getting an aromatic, and you're committed to this flavor, not only does it need to sort of um, taste the same as it smells, those olfactory and like taste bud sensations need to be aligned. In other words, I don't. This is my big thing with Autumn Evening. It smells really good and it tastes completely different.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
know we've never reviewed Autumn Evening. We'll get to it one day.
Yeah.
I want to say my piece about Autumn Evening.
Maybe one evening in the autumn we will touch on.
Yeah, but it doesn't have it. They're like, usually those things need to be aligned. Galwith blends have a tendency to smell like they smoke, and this blend smells like it smokes, which is a huge bump for me. And I think maybe some people thought that flavoring burned off quickly, but I'm just not experiencing that. And I don't know if the tin that I have is exceptionally old. So no, it's not. My tin is a year old, maybe, So it's not a particularly old blend. It's got, I guess, a year's worth of age on it, and that's just from purchasing. So I'm sure anyone who's purchasing that is going to have a minimum of a year. And who knows if that's just average for Americans, since this is being imported from Europe.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it has really good staying power. It tastes really good to me. I think the Latakia is a miss. I wouldn't even mention it. I mean, it's important to mention things as like you blended them, and I like the transparency. But if you wouldn't have mentioned it, I mean, it's kind of like people trying to suss out the Latakia and Fillmore, if it's there, the ghost of Fillmore, or whatever, the Latakia ghost of Fillmore, which it could be, it might not be. It's called Scottish blend, so yeah, this doesn't say it's a Scottish blend; it says it's a Virginia blend.
Yeah.
So Latakia feels like, and I think even 10% Latakia has a smoky residue that comes through the whole blend. I mean, I've said for years, a dab will do you, I mean, if you're involved with Latakia. So, I think the Dan Tobacco has quality tobacco, and I think that this blend is good. Is it for everyone? I think if you don't like aromatics at all, I would steer clear of it. I think if you're willing to take a chance that this is University Flake akin, it might be something you want to pick up. Is it University Flake like a winner in a standoff? No, I don't think so. And I'm going off of memory a little bit with University Flake, but it seems like University Flake is a little bit more Virginia Burley.
Okay.
With the topping, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
So I think I prefer the Weber quality of independence of University Flake by Peterson versus the Virginia Forward English of Independence. I don't even know if you can call it in English. It just has Latakia in it and Cavendish and Virginia. I think a base English is probably just Virginia and Latakia. So, but it's not a terrible blend. I'm going to finish this 10, which says a lot. Am I going to put it in a rotation? Probably not. And I'm probably not going to come out and recommend it to someone either. It's not going to be like, hey, you should definitely get Independence. It's not one of those kinds of blends. There are a lot more. University Flake would definitely be the one I would go after if I was trying to get people into like more Virginia or more Vapor.
Yeah.
Or push them down the road of Vapor, which I know you don't like too much anymore, but like those would be, I think, better roads traveled for someone trying to develop a Virginia palate, as opposed to saying, yeah, Independence. And I'm not saying that I like Independence because I have an advanced palate or something like that, because I've said that typically you do a full circle thing.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Actually, I had an addendum to that full circle, because I say you start with Cavendish and you come all the way around to Cavendish, but that's not exactly true anymore. You start at Cavendish and you come all the way around to Burley, I think,
Oh, really?
because Burley's your second like thing that you usually pick up, usually because of haunted bookshop and stuff. And I think at the end of the day, you're going to come back to Burley, but you're going to be disrespectful or questioning of Burley until you get into like really good Burley blends.
Yeah.
Like Solani aged Burley is an example of that, right? Or like, so I think I think I've actually gotten into Burley more over the last couple of years, even though I sort of disrespected Burley for a long time. I was like, Burley's the most boring thing I've ever smoked, and for some reason I like it now, which is a testament to like how you just don't know a lot. I think at the beginning of your smoking career, smoking career hobby, versus like as a more seasoned smoker and like the things that you can pick out in that. So that's my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I think we also failed to mention. I meant to say it at the beginning, but this is kind of a break in Burley Boy Summer. I know we started it. We're 2 weeks in. We did Haunted Bookshop, Cake, and then La Petite Rebond. But this is the week of 4th of July, Independence Day. Had to step in and do Independence, but we will be back to our regularly scheduled Burley Boy Summer next week.
Right.
Actually, if you want to get technical with it, next week will be Burley Boy Summer Vacation. It's going to be 5 days of nonstop Burley action. So, hope y'all are prepared for that.
Nonstop.
Nonstop, I mean, you wake up early, go to bed, wake up early. It's just going to be hitting you. So, and then we'll still be burleying it until we get to, what is it? The first Wednesday of fall. So we'll be rolling through some burley. But no, I mean, I think you kind of said it all. I mean, I think it's a pretty. It's not going to be rotational for me. It had no chance to be rotational for me. But I think it's it's worthy of having the Dan tobacco name. Is it? I think up until now, if we expand to all the Dan that we have been reviewing, Bill Bailey, I think, was my least favorite, and Hamburger Veermeister was my favorite. So kind of, if you kind of spread that spectrum, I think this is better than Bill Bailey, but I don't.
Right.
I don't think I would go out of my way to get it though.
The one thing I say complimentary to Dan is like at least none of the stuff that they have produced is bad. Seeing Cornell and Deal have produced bad blends.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that there's not something that Dan has produced that I would just not like, but I mean, like Cornell and Deal's produced what I consider not great blends. And the same can be said for peas because I don't like Bankside at all.
Oh God, that was awful. Thanks, that was awful. Um,
Hmm.
and Maltese Falcon missed the mark, and I think there's another one. I don't think that we were too highly on. I mean, his vapors kind of missed the mark on some of them. You know,
Hmm.
some of them do.
Granted, his Fillmore is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, but like it's just one of those. Somebody said it. Somebody commented on. Um, I think it was the John Maher video, basically saying like they just need to refine their catalog. Um, because I mean they make some awful blends and they continue to make them. you know. So I mean, I guess somebody likes them if people keep buying it, but like like I said, there's something to be said. I've always said this. I think McBaron HH is what your average blender should be striving to do. Have a line of tobaccos. I mean, McBaron makes more than just the HH line, but the HH line is kind of something to itself. And there's only been one miss that I've had. I haven't smoked all the HH, but there's only been one that's been awful, and they actually got rid of it because it
The
was so bad.
Katie.
Yeah, yeah, they don't even make it anymore.
Yeah,
So
I don't think a lot of. I think a lot of people didn't like Acadia.
yeah, but everything else that was there, I've had all the flakes. So I've had, well, I think, I don't know. So I haven't had Bold Kentucky or Old Dark Fired. I think they both come in flakes too, but I haven't had those. But I've had Latakia Flake, Pure Virginia, and Burley, and they're all exceptional tobaccos, worthy of being like mid to upper range blender, right?
Mhm.
Especially Latakia Flake. That
Damn
is,
it, dog! Get away from my blueberry bush. Get on. Dog's trying to pee on my blueberry bush.
we're gonna leave that in. But like I was saying, the everything I've had HH has been good. I think that's, like I said, that's what you want. I think, and C&D is the opposite. It's like any kind of variation that we can do in a blend with any kind of component, we're gonna throw it. You don't have a name for it? Go pick a Lovecraft novella. Put that on there.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah, like that's what they do. And
Hmm.
wait, what's one of your favorite Christmas songs? All right, throw that on there. Let's go. Put some nutmeg, a little bit of allspice in it. All right, we're good to go. It's just stop. Granted, though, I say that, but the Christmas aromatics is kind of where they know what they're doing.
I think,
Um,
yeah, like that. I was gonna say, like, I was smoking. We did the Jolly Old Saint Nick. I was
yeah,
smoking it the other day,
really,
and it's like it's still awesome. And
yeah,
I'm like, how are you messing up
yeah.
so bad in other areas?
I think it has to do with the flavor that they're picking, and in two reasons. One reason is a personal reason to us. Like, so I think we like Tonquin and cinnamon, nutmeggy, all that stuff. We like that. Star
Hmm.
anise, all that stuff. We like it. Um, but second thing, which is more universal, is that all the flavors I just said all lend themselves to making natural tobacco flavors better.
Right.
Um,
Yes.
they complement them. And so I think that's really why the Christmas stuff is so good. Like, I smoke We Three Kings, regularly, because We Three Kings is just so good. I think I said that it reminded me of the Patience of Dr. Silence a lot. So
Yeah.
um, I smoke it pretty regular. So yeah, I think two things make the Christmas ones good for us, and that's what they're using to kind of case it with. But then what was the when we did that first year? Uh, Golden Days of Yore.
Golden days of yore. Yeah.
It had that weird thing where it got better, like when it hit that Maryland leaf. So that was something odd. But but yeah. So Independence.
I know. People didn't like that Yule either. That Yule one.
I don't think I had that one. I don't think I've tried it.
Yeah, because it cost $60 or something like that.
Who made it?
Cornell Deal. It's like 2 pounds or something.
Oh,
I don't remember. It's a huge thing. It's like 16 ounces, and you gotta.
You can't just
They
buy.
pack. No, there's no tins. It's just it's like a package,
Oh.
and it's I hear mixed things. I hear people don't like it though.
You know what we need to do? I've been meaning to do it, and they still have it at my local place, or they did last time I went a few months ago. Is that C&D House Reserve that you can only get at brick and mortars? We need to review that bad boy.
Okay.
See what they've done
We
with that.
definitely
But
can.
yeah, so all right, but Independence by Dan Tobacco. I think you're a little bit more in favor of it than me, but it's still kind of like there's other options you can get.
To be fair, if there's a middle line, one of us is to the right of it, one of us is to the left of it on good and bad. Like, that's all there is to it. Like, there's no there's no hard positives or hard negatives about this blend. If you get it, I think you'll smoke through it, and I don't think you'll invite it into your rotation. But I think if you're picking it up on a whim because you're trying to do like we're doing, where you're doing a catalog series, it's fine. It's fine. I wouldn't say steer clear of it. I mean, there's like tons of C&D blends. Like, if we ever did a catalog series of C&D, I have this, I have this sneaking suspicion that there would be lots of blends that would come out of that I would definitely recommend viewers not go into.
Yeah, I think usually with us, there's always two things that we're always going to tell you: whether or not we recommend trying it, and whether or not we're going to put it in a rotation. And I think this fits a lot of what we reviewed. And that's, we recommend trying it, but we're not going to rotate it. So,
Right.
I mean, that's kind of the two R's: recommend and rotation. And
Right.
so,
I could see how if, like a final thought, I could see how if someone really liked that topping, then they would 100% put this in a rotation. But you have to really, really like that topping. And then I would tell them if this was their favorite, maybe try University Flake if they haven't. But that's the only thing that I think could win you over in this regard, is that the topping is absolutely a must for them, or like that flavor, because it's good. So if you really loved it, I could see how this would be a permanent blend for you.
That makes sense. So,
that's it. Happy 4th of July, everyone. I hope you enjoy Independence. And, if you have a hankering for an aromatic Virginia with a touch of Latakia and some Cavendish, give Independence by Dan Tobacco a try.
Yep. There you go. We'll see y'all.
See you.